everybody, Black Dog. Welcome back to the Squish Files. This is tips, tricks, and a walkthrough for beginners and returning players in 2023. So if you're new to the game, it can be a lot to take in. If you're just coming back, it can be a lot to take in. A lot has changed just in a couple of years. So if you've been away for a while, you've got a lot to redo and relearn. Okay, first things first. Let's get in our ship here so we stay alive. Because, as a good friend, Seventh Sea Lord once put it, you're going to die in this game. I know that's a fact. I just don't want to die this early. So, like I was saying, if you're new, there's a lot to take in. If you're returning after a couple of years away, there's a lot to relearn. My buddy Squish, which is why I'm making this, it's called the Squish Files. He's a new player, and he was overwhelmed. So I'm making this for him and for everyone new. And let's get started. We're going to check our log. Oops, wrong button, pardon me. We're going to hit our options button. That's going to bring up our different pages, our discoveries, our catalogs and guides. Our log is what tells us what to do, and then our options. Okay, so just run through again, and this is on PlayStation 5. Press your options button. This brings up various pages. The last time we got our starship fixed, we fixed our pulse engine and our launch thrusters, so we're now able to fly around a bit. We've added some items to our multi-tool. We are currently about to add our terrain manipulators so that we can do things to the terrain. Okay? But before we get too deep into it, I want to go over some of the settings. So let's go back, hit the options page, or the options button, and go to your options page. You're going to see several settings, several items listed here. So we're just going to run through them one by one, all right? The last time we got a quick grasp. Now we're going to start to get into the depth of it. So let's start with general option. And these are going to be our audio settings, music, sound effects, our visual settings, our HUD, our heads-up display, and we can either disable this or we can keep it enabled. And enabled, it's going to show reticle, compass, hazard protection, life support. You can keep it enabled and still disable it for screenshots. We'll get into that. Damage numbers enabled. I keep mine enabled just for feedback. Now, if you want true immersion, say you're on VR, or, you know, you've got a nice battle station set up where your immersion factor is really important. You have no issues. You can go ahead and just disable those with no problems. Okay, languages, handedness, um, gives you a difference between left-handed and right-handed on your third-person view, and which hand your multi-tool is in. For left-handed people, this is really, really nice. Um, auto torch. I keep my auto torch, my flashlight, disabled. I can turn it on when I need it. Excuse me. At times, it's a little difficult in building mode. So I leave mine disabled. You can certainly enable yours. And then when you hit a dark enough environment, it will automatically switch on. Okay. The next one, displaying graphics, announce, adjust your motion blur, your brightness and gamma, and set your frame rates however you desire. Accessibility, your text can be enlarged, your HUD scale can be enlarged or reduced. Um, Opening sequences will flash to white. Certain sequences in the game will flash to white. And you can have that enabled or disabled. Disabling it causes the screen to fade to black during these transactions. Fade to white is the default setting. I just leave it there. Um, for those with color blindness, uh, we have a galaxy map color filter for the various color blindness settings. Um, Hazard effects. So this is adjust the visual intensity of the full screen effects, indicating hazard environments such as extreme cold or radioactivity. Um, I've got mine set up to 100. That's the default setting. It's actually kind of cool to see the ice start to form on your screen or the radiation start to get to you. Um, by default, certain UI actions require the interaction button to be briefly held to confirm your decision. You can adjust this. Hold for important, hold for destructive, always instant is all UI actions are instant, and that's what I choose. Just makes it a little easier for me. Analysis visor, push to scan enabled. If disabled, your flora and fauna will automatically scan when it's centered. I have mine enabled, default setting. A lot of my settings I just leave default normal. Um, Again, these are all personalized. Feel free to set them whatever works for you. Vibration, I hate vibration, so I turn it off. Um, that's displaying graphics, accessibility, camera, field of views, flight controls, third persons, vignettes, head bobs, camera shake, etc. Control, your sensitivities, your flight controls, your button references, and your button layout menus. And now your difficulty settings. Prior to 4.0, we had several modes. We had normal, survival, permadeath, and creative. And just a quick rundown, normal is normal. Um, Survival is normal with less resources and more hazards. Permadeath is just that. Permadeath. When you die, you're done. It's game over. And creative is you are allowed to enjoy the game the way it's made with zero resources, zero hazards, zero damage, zero money. You know, you just go out and enjoy everything in the game without cost and without hazard. Um, at 4.0, they introduced adjustable settings. Um, these are where you can take almost any mode and adjust each individual setting. So, say survival elements. Now, I'm set at normal default. That's what I normally play in my main save. That's what I'm set at. Um, my survival save is set at survival default. I don't have a permadeath save. I have a creative save. It's set for creative default. Um, since we're playing on normal, I'm going to leave the settings at creative default, or normal default, I apologize, but I'll run through them real quick. So survival elements, survival difficulty, natural resources, sprinting, scanner recharge, damage levels, technology damage, and death consequences. Um, as I said, you can set them from no item loss, which is creative, you know, no damage, no damage levels. Your scanner recharges very quickly. Your sprint is infinite. Your resources are abundant. Your survival is relaxed. You have no survival elements that you need, i.e., you don't need health, you don't need shields. You know, you can stand in the worst of weather and be fine. On the other scale, you have the permadeath settings where stubbing your toe will kill you and then your game is over. It's that simple. You can adjust each and every one of these to how you want them to be. So say you want permadeath with standard death, or you want permadeath, I'm sorry, with minimal tech damage, you know, standard scanning, infinite sprint. You can set that up and just go play however you want. Crafting and item settings, again, from creative to permadeath. As you can see, just about everything in mine says standard. And I'm just going to leave it that way. Now, there is a hack, a exploit, if you will, where you can go and set all of your settings to creative, where you have absolutely no damage, no cost, and then play through the main game, and then come back once you're established and reset your settings to your preferred play style. Um, I'm not going to comment on that. That is your business. How you play the game, there is no correct way to play No Man's Sky. Um, if that's what you choose to do, my personal choice is to play the game at its default set. Um, Now, let me see if I can find at the very bottom where all of your changes are made. If you want, and if you're satisfied, you can lock your difficulty settings in, where once you lock them in, they're locked in. You can't go back, um, with, say, base power and set it from standard back to free just because you want free base power. So, make your decisions and then either lock them in or leave them where you can adjust them as you're desired. Below that, you're going to have reload autosave, reload restore point. Prior to 4.0, we did not have an autosave system. We simply made saves. Getting out of your ship was our autosave, and using a save point or save beacon was our manual save. And that's what we had. Now the game, at 4.0, when the game was ported to Switch, we were given an autosave, and unfortunately, we cannot disable it. It's there. You have to deal with it. And unfortunately, even more unfortunate, is it's every 60 or 90 seconds. So if you're doing an exploit that is save based, 60 seconds isn't very long. And an autosave can jack up that exploit. So unfortunately, a few of our exploits have gone away, and we've worked around some new ones. We'll get to exploits later on. The final option setting I want to get to is going to be your most important, and that's going to concern multiplayer. Now, should you engage in multiplayer, this is doubly important. Should you be playing on standalone? Not as important, and yet still so. I'm going to demonstrate why. So this last setting is network, and this is definitely your most important setting. First is multiplayer, and you can either enable or disable multiplayer. Now, if you do not have PS Plus, multiplayer is not an option, and a lot of these settings will not be there. But the ones that are there, you still need to set correctly. So multiplayer disabled or enabled. I'm going to leave multiplayer enabled for this video series so that we can see other players when we do encounter them in the public area. Who can join my group? You can set that to invite only, friends only, or anyone. I'm going to go ahead and leave that open for now. Voice chat enabled. Allow PvP with. So the game does have a multiplayer element. You can play with your friends. You can meet other players cross-platform on the game. And there is a PvP element. Now, I suggest setting this to no one unless you and your friends are going to have PvP, or unless you're, someone who's familiar with PvP and are, prepared to have someone attack you. There are one or two trolls within the No Man's Sky community, unfortunately, just like within all gaming. There's just fewer of them within the community. You're more likely to react with a good person than a troll. But so just to be on the safe side, no PvP, and no one else can add base parts, and no one can delete base parts. So the add and delete base parts, you definitely want to set those to no one. That way a total stranger can't come to your base and build or delete buildings on your base. Okay? Also down here, access refiner and edit base terrain. Again, you only want to open these permissions when you're playing with a friend. Someone you know is not going to mess with your stuff. Other than that, just on the off chance that you do run into a troll, have all of these set to no one. So no one can add base parts, no one can delete base parts, no one can edit the base terrain, and no one can access my refiners. That means they can't mess up my base or steal from me in any way. Okay. Speech to text enabled, translate text enabled, cross-platform enabled. Those three are enabled just so that I can cross-platform play with anyone. If they're on Squish and don't have a mic, at least we can communicate to a degree. All right. Our current group. Our No Man's Sky friends list, which as you can see, we have friends on computer, and Xbox will be on this side, and our PlayStation friends will be on this side. Now, down below that, we have our No Man's Sky friends code. This is what you exchange with, say, an Xbox or PC player or Switch player that you've met, that you know, that you want to play with. You exchange your friends' codes, and then you're able to hook up and invite each other that way. All right? And below that, we have a blocked players list. Yes, this person got themselves blocked. And then our nearby players. So if there are any players within the system that we're in, their name will pop up. All right? So those are our options. Our log tells us what to do, what missions we're on. Our catalog and guide, we have everything that you want to know about yourself. All of the blueprints that you know and all of the blueprints that you are going to be learning. Okay? Things the same on your starship, your multi-tool, your freighter, your exocraft, exotic items. Materials and items, all the things that you see and learn as you go. Now, you're going to be seeing a lot of these. You, as a new player, these might not be filled out for you. Okay? I'm trying to remember because it's been a long time since I've restarted, and this is all new to me with the new setup. So this is things like our log that we've experienced so far. Portal glyphs that we're going to learn. The different races, the Gek, the Viking, and the Korvax, which we will be meeting. Recipes we know. Oddities and wonders that we've seen. So, for instance, the most perfect, the largest, and the hottest temperature is the planet we're on. The highest peak, the highest radiation, and the coldest temperature was the planet we started on. Oh, sorry. Fauna records, largest herbivore, smallest herbivore, most intelligent, most radiation resistant, highest body temperature, convergence potential, psionic field, and then we have a lot of the same thing for minerals and for plants. And personal records. All right. And then our discoveries page, which tells us the 2 planets that we've been on, any flora, fauna, or minerals, and any waypoints we've discovered. On the discoveries page, you're going to, next to the names, you're going to see a little pencil. You can use that to change the names to whatever you desire, honestly. You could name this Ohio. And the system's name is now Ohio. Below it, it says how long ago and who it was discovered by. The economy type it is, the conflict level, and the dominant life form. You can do the same with planets. So let's name this one Cleveland. There's an E. Would I be spelling Cleveland wrong? Possibly. No, I am not. I refuse to believe I cannot spell Cleveland. although I'm probably wrong, and if I am, I apologize to the residents of Cleveland, Ohio. Now, upload. This will upload the renamed and newly discovered system to the online servers. It will give you credit for the discovery in the server. It will be discovered by you, renamed by you. And when you upload these, as you can see, it says discoveries uploaded, 51 nanites awarded. So I made 51 nanites. That's one of the ways that we make our money, is we pick an item, we scan it, and we get units for that. We got 500 units for scanning these little pumpkins. And then we press our options button, go to discoveries. Here's our little pumpkin that we just discovered. And when we go to this arrow and press square, we can rename and upload, or we can just upload. And as you can see under upload, we received 3 nanites. Okay, so that's how we make units and nanites. One of the ways is to go around and simply scan items. And as you scan them, you make units. And as you upload them, you receive nanites. The renaming is completely up to you. I will point out that when you rename them, if another player comes to this planet a year from now, it will show what you renamed it, and it will show who discovered it and when for them as well. Alright, so now that we've got those items covered, let's go on with where we're at in the game, which is to construct and master our terrain manipulator. So we're going to put the terrain manipulator as an advanced multi-tool attachment that allows the user to mine large resource deposits and to tunnel through the ground. So we're going to go ahead and install that on our multi-tool. Press the big center pad to bring up our exosuit starship multi-tool screen. Go to multi-tool, get our little flashy square here, and terrain manipulator. Okay, so for that we need 2 carbon nanotubes, 1 dihydrogen jelly. So if you'll remember last time, we're going to have to make those out of the items that we have gathered, the resources. So we have carbon and we have dihydrogen. So we're going to come to an empty square, focus over it. We need 1 dihydrogen jelly. That's going to take 40 dihydrogen. Now, if you haven't gotten dihydrogen, it's going to be these blue crystals right here. And if you use your scanner, it'll be the blue diamond with the H in it. And you can see that. They're here. There's some over there, 75U away. There's some over there, 94U away. So there's no reason that you can't have dihydrogen. So just look for the blue crystals, or scan and find the little blue diamond H, and let's get our multi-tool and harvest these little blue crystals. We just got a crystal fragment from them. Alright. There's our little blue crystals. So we're going to open these crystal fragments. When we do that, it says analyze, transfer to other inventories, move and stack, or discard. You want to analyze these because opening these crystal fragments will give you even more dihydrogen. And you can get these from various other elements, and it does the same thing. When you open them up, they'll give you more of that element. Alright, so we're going to make our dihydrogen jelly, which we need one of, and then carbon. We need carbon for carbon nanotubes. So if you'll look at any plant life that you can find, most of them will say carbon and possibly even one other element. So, for instance, this large plant here, it has carbon and condensed carbon as a secondary element. We're actually going to harvest that. That's a good plant. And we're going to harvest a few of these pumpkins. They have carbon and oxygen. Alright, that should be enough. Now we need 2 carbon nanotubes. So we're over, when you highlight on an empty square and then you pick what you're wanting to build, again, these highlighted ones are what you're able to build. The dark ones are what you do not have the resources to build. Okay? So we need 2 carbon nanotubes. Now, I'm going to actually make 4 because I'll use more, but I'm going to show you a trick. So if I want 1, I hover over carbon nanotube, press X, and I get 1. But if I want more than 1, say I want 4, then with L1, before I press X to build, with L1 or R1, I can increase or decrease the amount. So I want to build 4 rather than build 4 at one at a time. I'm going to build all 4 at once. So I'm going to hover over it and press R1. It says build times 2, and you'll see my required parts will also go up. Press R1 again, build times 3. Again, required parts go up. You can build as many as parts that you have. 4. So 50 carbon each. I'm building 4 at once. Going to take me naturally 200 carbon. Thankfully I have that, so there's our nanotubes. Now we're going to press R1 or L1. Can do it either way. It works on a carousel type basis. We're going to go to our multi-tool, go to our glowy square, hover over terrain manipulator, Then we're going to install our nanotubes, our dihydrogen, and now we have a terrain manipulator. Now, this is used to extract large pockets of materials or to dig holes or otherwise manipulate the terrain. Let's recharge our hazard protection. And I'll show you. So let's say I want to dig a hole. So I have the terrain manipulator on mine. Now, to switch from terrain manipulator to mining beam, I simply click triangle. So we're set to my terrain manipulator, and we dig a hole. Now, say digging a hole gives me silicate powder. Now, say I want to fill the hole back in, so I'm going to click 0, and that's going to allow me different modes with the terrain manipulator. So clicking 0 from mine to create, to flatten, to restore. So and that's by clicking 0. Mine, dig a hole, create, create a pillar out of the earth. Restore, put everything back the way it was. Fill in your holes. Put everything back the way it was. And then we have flatten, which will flatten the ground. And that gives you a nice, lovely, flat area to build on. Now, there is a word regarding the terrain manipulator. When you manipulate terrain, when you dig a hole, it will ultimately respawn. It will refill itself in. It may take a day, it may take a month, but it will fill itself in. The ground will reclaim itself, so just be aware of that. So we're set to mine, and let's see what we have to do. Hop in our little ship. You know, silly me. I'm going to show you guys this is for tips, tricks, and walkthroughs. So here's a tip, a trick, a walkthrough for you. Your terrain manipulator. Now, as you can see, I'm in hazards. My hazard protection is falling. If I stand out here long enough, it will fail completely. If a storm starts, I'll be in real trouble. Well, here's a neat little trick. Take your terrain manipulator and dig you a nice hole in the ground. And then go in. It acts as a temporary shelter. As you can see, my hazard protection has stopped falling. I'm now completely out of the elements. I have no idea what that was. I hope I didn't wake something up. Hello? Hello? Odd. Okay, anyway, back in our little hole like a jackrabbit. Okay, so if you'll look on the lower right hand side, gather 60 copper. Activate terrain manipulator with triangle. Use analysis visor L2 to locate deposits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press and hold L2, and that's going to go from our regular view to our analysis visor, which is what we put in last episode. And we are looking for copper. Now you'll notice all sorts of activity. You'll notice all sorts of waypoint markers. I'll run through them briefly. The little green paws, those are animals that you have discovered. The small red dots are animals you have not scanned. For instance, that one flying up there. There's your ship, giving the distance away and the ability to tag it so that you can see it without the analysis visor. You also have the same thing with plants. What we're looking for is deposits, and those are going to be these little white diamonds with the cross in the center. And these are large mineral deposits that you can extract with your terrain manipulator. We're looking for copper. We'll take anything because we'll use most items eventually. But the main one we need is copper. So there's cobalt. Ooh, that's a nice one. Phosphorus, another nice one. Cobalt, cobalt, copper. So there is a copper deposit 191 U away. So I'm going to hold square and tag that so that I can see it without having to hold L1 and look through my analysis visor the whole time. As you can see, these are very, that is, we're going to put the terrain manipulator on hold, folks. I have just found a diamond in the wild, unknown grave. We're going to go right there. I'm going to explain that to you right now. So, let me hop in the ship here. Copper is everywhere. These graves are not everywhere. So, press our options button, go to catalog and guide, and under moment. Oddities, wonders. No. Materials and items. No. Collected knowledge. No. No. Ah. This has to be it. Portal glyphs. Okay. So under collected knowledge, go to the atlas, and then under that, go to portal glyphs. You're going to see 16 little blank signs. So I guess it's best to start at the beginning. Because there are 15 quintillion, that's 15 followed by 15 zeros, because there are that many planets, Hello Games has devised a very unique way to keep track of them all. On each planet, in each system, in each galaxy, there is a set of galaxy-specific coordinates. So, should I want to find this planet or to give you folks the location of this planet, you need what's called portal glyphs. Now, portal glyphs are easy to see. If you'll press down on your D-pad and then right to photo mode, select that. And if you'll look in the lower left-hand corner, you're going to see this list of symbols. They look like various things. They do have proper names that we'll cover later on. But you can see a face, kind of, sort of, what maybe looks like sunset over the water, a boat. I see a dinosaur. I see an obvious bird there towards the end. These are portal glyphs. You want these portal glyphs in order to be able to use a portal and go to various planets. Say a friend tells you, oh, I found this great ship, and you say, oh, I want one, where did you get it? And then he tells you Euclid Galaxy, and then he gives you this set of glyphs. They're at the lower left-hand screen. And you input these glyphs into the portal, and that transports you exactly to the planet where your friend bought that ship. If you've seen the movie Stargate, or the series, or read any of the books, or have any idea what Stargate is, you have the idea. There's two ways to get portals. Primary way to get portal glyphs, follow the main storyline. As you do the main story, you will receive portal glyphs. The other way is to look for travelers' graves. And that right there, my friends, is a traveler's grave. So we're just going to skip right over to it. And we're going to get that portal glyph. That'll be our first portal glyph of the game. This is awesome. These things are almost always going to be in a little hollow or depression. Destination reached. Mostole's final log. Unknown grave. I asked blank question that no one had asked. It was simple. Blank. The Sentinels. Blank. What are they? Blank. Do they come from? Question. Made it my life's work to find. Left logs, records across worlds. The fallen traveler's grave is marked by a glyph, an epitaph of some ancient technology. So we're going to extract that glyph. I obtained the glyph, and with it the ability to travel to unknown worlds. I leave the fallen traveler in peace. And there is our first portal glyph. And we receive a memory fragment. The shattered remnants of an expired traveler. It whispers an unknowable name deep within its fibers. The memory will manifest as an important technology upgrade, and you consume or absorb this memory by pressing square. So we're gonna hop in our ship, and we're going to take a short break and be back on the next episode where we're going to learn a little more about glyphs, open the memory fragment we were given, and we'll go extract our copper. Thanks a lot. You folks have a good day, and we'll be back shortly. Bye-bye.